Good evening, everyone, and welcome to sunny South Florida for Race 6 of the Challenger Cup Series, Season 1 here in 2025. Dawson Wise coming to you from the PGR eSports Network as I'm bringing you coverage of tonight's Tuesday night event from Homestead-Miami. Race 6 of the season brings us to the sunny mile-and-a-half oval here in Miami, Florida, just south of the city. In the Everglades, kind of back in the Everglades of Florida, and tonight it's 120 laps, and already 15 of them, now 16, ticked onto the race, onto the board on the left side of your screen. Apologies for missing last week, but I'm back here this week, plan to be back going forward. Hopefully no more interruptions going forward, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Of course, we all know how life tends to go. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can't make those cars a little bit louder for you all. Kind of give you the feel of racing. May make some sound changes if we get a caution later on at the stage break to make those cars a little bit louder for you all here this evening. But do want to welcome you back in. It is Homestead-Miami, and it is Harold Watkins that so far leads the way by 0.8 of a second over the remainder of the field. GT Irizarry leads what at one point here was a very competitive race from about second on back, actually from the lead on back. And the story of tonight, what I wondered, how many different lines would guys run? A lot of guys like to run the bottom here in this car, but some guys, like James Coytrone and Stephen Luttrell, are going to go up to what some like to call the Larson line. Some like to say ripping the fence. If you're not a Kyle Larson fan, perhaps maybe the Tyler Reddick line is more appropriate for you, or Christopher Bell, three of the best in the business at running right up against the outside wall, using that run all the way down the straightaway. We saw Kyle Larson do a lot of it on Sunday afternoon here at Homestead, and you see John Velocity do it right there. He goes to the fence, goes to the high rent district, drives underneath the 38 of James Coytrone, and goes by for the position. There's a ton of advantages to running up there. If you can get that car to stick, you get a ton of exit speed, can drive down the banking, and it actually propels your car down the straightaway. The bottom, though, good for making passes, good for running consistent laps, and good for saving some tire. As well. Due to the off-throttle time that you have down there on the bottom. So you see Velocity's up there. Matt Hayden has moved up there now in 1 and 2, and you'll see guys experiment throughout the night. They'll go to the top, they'll go to the bottom, they'll go to the middle. They'll do all kinds of things just to see where the speed is, and right now you see Matt Hayden. He's up in the penthouse, up top against the fence. You see Travis Everett a little further back. He was against the fence. Looks like Luttrell's still up there as well. Strader has ventured up there also, so you'll see a ton of guys start to try it and just kind of see where the speed is. Now Rusty Modesty goes to the fence in the third position, now in the fourth position, and you see the kind of run he gets back around Matt Hayden for third. Velocity's been the one that's closest to the fence that I can see. As lap 20 goes on the board, the 84's got that fence working. Velocity so far doing a good job of just getting up against the fence and going forward, making moves. Now Hayden goes back to the top. This is how he got to Rusty Modesty in the first place. He'll try to do so again. GT Irizarry had started to run down Harold Watkins. He'd be back-to-back. Really good finishes that I've been here for. Matt Hayden picks up the win a week ago at Las Vegas, of course, and this is kind of a running joke, a running pattern between myself and Matt Hayden. He tends to win races when I don't have the call, when there's no broadcast to see the race in. Matt Hayden tends to get the job done. And unfortunately for him, he did so again last week when I was not here. One of these times it will happen. This season, next season, at some point, that will happen. He'll win a race. I'll be here. We'll get to celebrate. We'll get to kind of play on that joke. We'll see if it's tonight at Homestead-Miami. Watkins leads by 0.2 of a second. He's getting reeled in slowly here by Irizarry. Modesty and Hayden continue to go back and forth for the third spot. Oh, man, almost contact there as Hayden brought that car down off the banking from the fence. He almost got in the back of the six. Didn't quite have the cleanest of timing there getting off of turn number 2. And as such, he had to get out of the gas. He'll go up there again. This time he'll actually hit the wall, and he'll have to jump back in line. Velocity closes on both these cars. Travis Everett does as well. Those cars up to 5th and 6th on the racetrack. Coytrone at one point was 2nd. He's back to 7th on the speedway as they run right now. Lap 23 on the board. Another race that will go very quickly if this gets into a green flag run. Already 20 laps and inside of 100 to go. This one's going to go really, really quick. The laps are not long here. You carry a lot of speed. These cars are wound up. They're running 33-second laps right now. And as they run, this will not be a very long race if this continues to be the case. Hayden back to the fence. Modesty on the bottom has been very loyal to that bottom line, but Hayden's been able to drive to him a couple times. He'll be patient here into turn number 1. He'll go back to the high rent district, up close to the fence, not quite to it, but he'll get a little close to it, and then he'll try to drive that car a little bit down. You saw Kyle Larson do this as well on Sunday. He kind of drove a half lane down the hill on exit, and that kind of gave him some more exit speed and allowed him to kind of really arc the car off the corner. Modesty goes to the fence, not going to work. Modesty's out of shape right in front of Matt Hayden. Hayden going to the bottom to bail. Velocity's caught both of them now and will try to thread through the middle, but now he'll follow Modesty along the top side. Hayden making the pass on the bottom. Oakley Chevrolet move him to P3. Velocity going to look for P4. The train follows on by. Rusty Modesty. Here comes Travis Everett on the bottom. Modesty trying to fight back up top against a safer barrier as Coitron watches on. And up front, the leaders are scooting away just a little bit from this battle for third. Hayden is on by Modesty, now can focus forward. Velocity takes a lunge down here into turn number 3 on the 6 of Rusty Modesty. We'll try to get the 4th position from him and actually tried to take a look at Matt Hayden's left rear quarter panel as well. They will not get it. Modesty back to 4th. Velocity will settle in line, and this battle will continue on lap number 26. Now Modesty to the fence again. Again, he gets it, and so does Velocity that time. Up front, battle for the lead Bruise. Irizarry on the back bumper of Harold Watkins as the sun beams off the South Florida pavement here down the backstretch. And that's been a complaint I've seen about Homestead. In the evening races, after the last iRacing update that they did a major, graphics overhaul with the iRacing service. And one of the things they did was lighting. Lighting got a lot more realistic. And Homestead, coming off of turn number 4, you get a gap in the grandstands behind the front stretch. And if you're in the evening, the sun is going down as you're coming off turn number 4. And drivers were posting some pictures from inside the cockpit. It was not a pleasant experience, very hard on the eyes, and you couldn't really see where you were going. And that's happened at a couple of different places. Sebring as well, in the Sebring 12 hours this past weekend. A lot of guys complained about that there as well. So a pair of Florida tracks struggling with the lighting update. Watkins by a car length, make it half a car length over Irizarry as the field works back to turns 1 and 2. You see them way off the throttle and backing out of that gas pedal. Irizarry hounding Watkins, trying to go for 2 wins in 3 weeks. He'll lunge to the bottom, pass for the lead. On lap number 28, Irizarry to the bottom. Harold Watkins will run the top and try to fend him off. Will he be able to drive that car off turn number 4? Will Irizarry slide up on his nose? Down the front stretch on lap 28, it will be Newt Leader. And Homestead, as Irizarry gets the lead, he will give Watkins that outside lane and drive right back to the white line and try to set sail now. Hayden 2.2 seconds back. The rest of the field trails further than that. And Irizarry will again slide on the nose and now start to try to pull away just a little bit as we approach lap 30 from Homestead. So a bit of a chaotic sequence right there, but nonetheless, we should be getting ready to have a stage break here. This should be the stage lap, not this time, but next time. So it should be this time white flag in stage number 1 if the lap counter I have is correct. Watkins will actually go to about a half lane off the bottom, maybe a full lane off the bottom, and will actually try to drive back around, and he's making some ground doing that. He'll draft up to the back of Irizarry, and he may lunge here down the backstretch. Watkins to the left rear. Irizarry blocks, still blocks, throws another block into 3, and fends him off. Does Watkins use the bumper? He tried right there, couldn't quite do it, and Irizarry will drive it off turn number 4. He gets a little bit loose, so does Watkins. Irizarry will hold him off by a pair of car lengths. And we'll take the line right there to take lap number 31. We'll await to see if there is a stage caution as the remainder of the field works back by, and there is the yellow flag. Irizarry, Watkins, Hayden, Velocity, Everett, your top 5. Modesty, Coitron, Malarkey, Strader, and Zabludel are the top 10. Stage 1, the only stage break of the night, is out with 90 laps to go, an even quarter way into this race. So fun stuff there at the front of the field between our top 2 at the end of that stage, and they will all catch the pace car. You see Greg Bourbonier is on the tail end of the lead lap in that 00. May have made a pit stop, actually, before the stage break. They'll catch up to the pace car. We'll catch up with you here in just a moment. We're going to take the shortest of breaks. I'm going to try to do an audio fix on my end here, make the cars just the slightest bit louder for you all. And we'll come back with more green flag action in stage number 2 from Homestead. 89 laps to go. GT Irizarry is the leader. We'll be right back on the PGR eSports Network.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created
Drink Company.
the fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, we go. This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on!
Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back live from Homestead-Miami Speedway Stage 2, getting ready to go underway. 86 laps remain as lap 35 will tick on the board. GT Irizarry maintains the lead on pit road. Harold Watkins maintains second. The big mover is Travis Everett up to third. And then it's Hayden, Velocity, Coytrone, Malarkey, Zabloodle, Strader, and Luttrell, the rest of the top 10. Back down through the Geico restart zone one more time. Green flag is in the air. And away we go for stage number 2. The race is on at Homestead. Will a new driver lock their way to the playoffs, or GT Irizarry or Harold Watkins win another one? Will Matt Hayden win once again? Christian Strader is the other winner in the field. I'll double check that to make sure that is correct. A scramble down the back straightaway. Off into turn number 3. Watkins going to lunge. Hayden is back in this fight as well. And can the Oakley Chevrolet make any ground on these two leaders? That 5 car's been pretty sporty off the top of the racetrack, but could not seem to run down those top 2 cars on that run. Coytrone, huge lunge to the bottom for the 38 to go right around Travis Everett. And Coytrone move him to 4th. Big mover on this restart is that gray and black and yellow number 38 Chevrolet. Top side against the fence, I believe, was John Velocity again in that 84. It was. Watkins right to the back bumper of Irizarry will take a lunge for the lead in turn 3. No, he'll back off and wait yet another lap. Hayden to the bottom, Malarkey up top, Everett in the middle. That's kind of where things get a little bit scrambled. Up against the fence, Luttrell going to try to squeeze in on Zabloodle. It will not happen. Everett squeezes in between Malarkey and Velocity. Christian Strader is as high as he's been in 8th in that 29 car. Remains the points leader after Las Vegas does the 29 of Christian Strader. He's got 2 wins this season so far. Back-to-back wins earlier in the season. 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 215 total points. Harold Watkins is his competition in second, and Harold Watkins just drove around Irizarry for the lead, who is now 3 wide for second. Big-time battle for position number 2. Irizarry holding off Coytrone and Matt Hayden. so far give the battle to Motorcraft Ford Mustang, but he is not out of the woods yet as Watkins drives off with the lead. Watkins second in points coming into tonight, one back at Daytona. After dominating Speed Week, winning the Bud Shootout and the Daytona season opener, Harold Watkins locked his spot into the Challenger Cup Series playoffs. Of course, Matt Hayden winning last week at Las Vegas, and Justin Malarkey getting a win as well in the 73. So 4 winners so far. Or excuse me, it is not a win. Excuse me, he has a stage win. I'm not sure what I was seeing. I was reading the points document wrong. Pardon me. It is Irizarry, Hayden, Watkins, and Schrader that are the winners. Malarkey has a stage win. The only other driver to win a stage this season is the 73. Battle continues for third. Coitrone, Hayden, and now, welcome to the party, John Velocity. Welcome to the party as well, Christian Schrader. Oh, man, contact 84 and 38 as they got together down the front straightaway to allow Schrader to take advantage. Move car number 29 to position number 5. The Reese's Mustang Dark Horse, your points leader here in Challenger Cup Series competition, drives from 8th to position number 5 down the backstretch at Homestead as he makes a charge for the lead. He'll try to get past Coitrone. It will not happen. Coitrone will drive in on the nose of the 29, and he will hold that position for now. Hayden runs third on the back bumper of Irizarry running second, and it's Harold Watkins out front one more time. He's led a number of laps here tonight, and so far believe that would tie him for the points lead from Christian Schrader. If Schrader's not yet led a lap, Watkins would tie him for the points lead. In fact, provisionally has passed him with the stage points he earned in stage number 1. So Watkins has overtaken Schrader for the points lead for the time being. Again, a lot of race still to go here tonight. And, of course, a lot of season to go later in the season as well. So a lot of racing left to happen this season. So the points leader, yes, I understand, may not matter a ton right now, but still like to keep up with it throughout the course of the year. Andrew Little, third in points, is not in the field tonight. That's a notable development because Matt Hayden came into tonight's race 22 points back of the lead and only 3 back of Little. Travis Everett, 12 back of Little. Same with Irizarry. Luttrell was only about 40 points back of Little. I don't think he can gain that many tonight with only 16 cars in the field. So a few drivers, Everett, Hayden, Irizarry, hot on the heels of Andrew Little, appear to be in position to pass him tonight with a start and with a good finish as well, which Irizarry, Hayden, Everett so far all in position to get decent finishes in this race if it continues the way it's going. 43 laps complete. We continue to watch this battle for second as Harold Watkins maintains a 6/10 lead over GT Irizarry and Matt Hayden, and then a battle for fourth, which is John Velocity and James Coitrone. Schrader has settled into 6th. The back straightaway, back down into turn number 3, already over a third of the way through this race. Again, I don't want to jinx it, but we're on pace for a really fast one here tonight if it continues. Coitrone to the outside wall to 38, got the fence off the exit of turn number 4, and is going backwards. He gets passed by Schrader, he gets passed by Malarkey, and now Hunter Carlson going to take an effort on him as well. All 3 of those cars get passed. Coitrone will try to recover as Modesty and Zeb Ludel are now in the rear view mirror. So a number of spots lost there for that car. Continue to watch this battle for second. Again, Watkins is the leader, but we keep it focused on the battle for second for the time being, as Matt Hayden continues to stay close to the 14. Again, Irizarry was really good late run in stage 1. I expect that it will be the same situation here in stage 2. And that 14 picked up speed as the run went on. Watkins was able to hang around, but it felt like Irizarry was the fastest car on track late run as the run went forward, and looks like that's already starting to take hold here tonight in the second stage, as well. Watkins leads by half a second, almost 50 laps down already at Homestead. We got a fun battle back here around Justin Malarkey. Let's go take a look at it. From 6th on back is under a blanket. Malarkey to the top. Carlson to the bottom. Move Carlson to position number 6. And down into turn 3, looks like that battle will all kind of settle out. James Coytrone still trying to figure out that issue he had just a moment ago in the outside wall, but so far recovering decently from it. Battle for second is on once again, and it is raging. These two have actually kind of pushed each other back towards the leader. Both Hayden and Irizarry have kind of started to catch the leader, Watkins, and now Hayden will drive right around him. Matt Hayden, that's an impressive drive by the 5 car. He goes around Irizarry and now sets his sights on Harold Watkins at the front. He's found something here, running that middle groove of the racetrack, but now Watkins starts to drive away. Velocity, Schrader, your top 5 have not changed really since the restart. It was right here that I kind of saw that 5 start to really pick up a little bit of time, and he does so again. Marginally on the leader that time, but he's got something on in 3 and 4 that Watkins has not found yet. Excuse me. It's allowed him to pull back a little bit of the time that he's got to gain on our leader, Harold Watkins, and he's going to pull it under half a second here on the back straightaway. So half a second between the leader and second as Hayden draws 3-4 car lengths on the Irizarry machine. Starts to drive away the slightest bit, not a ton, but 4 or 5 car lengths. Now again, Irizarry seemed to pick up speed late run. We'll see if that happens again. And John Velocity is lurking in behind these two, although they are starting to put ground on him as well. Schrader actually starting to draw him in for a battle for 4th. So the points leader has had a bit of a resurgence here on in this mid-race lull. Schrader has started to put something together here in the mid stages of this run and just trying to get back inside the top 4. As Hayden continues to hound our race leader, he's got something in that second lane. That is really working for him right now. Picked it up all the way to about 4/10 back. Now he lost a little bit last time by. Let's see if he gains it back here in 3 and 4, but I think now Watkins has moved up and matched that line, so Hayden will have to go do something else. He may have to put it on the fence and try to go about it that way. We'll see here as this run continues. If he moves, if he gets out of that air coming off the back of the 3 car and gains a little bit more speed and starts to find that time that he found just a few moments ago. 6 laps short of the halfway point when Watkins comes back by the flag stand. We got an entertaining one unfolding so far in the Florida Everglades. As round 6 of the Challenger Cup Series continues on PGR eSports. Coming up after this race, a little broadcasting note for you, a little programming note, if you will, on our channel on the main page. You'll see a link for a stream listed for Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder. The Super Speedway Series makes a stop tonight for race number 5 of this 6th season. It's Xfinity Series race cars at Talladega. coming up after this one concludes here tonight on PGR eSports. Go check that one out. Michael Triscaro, Ron Morris on the call for that one. Should be a fun one again tonight. Ron Morris Racing, Tuesday Night Thunder has been some of the consistently best super speedway money racing on the iRacing service over the past year and a half. So go check that one out on our channel. Stream is already listed on our main page for tonight, or at least it should be. Matt Hayden trails by 0.4 of a second. We are 4 laps short of the halfway mark here in Miami. And let's give you a rundown of where we head from here. Again, we mirror the schedule of the NASCAR Cup Series. So next Tuesday night, boy, you better be ready for a fun one. A trip to the hills of Virginia. It's the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway, for 160 laps of beating and banging and chaos, bent bumpers and bent tempers. Next week at Martinsville as the Cup Series heads there this weekend. Then it's off to the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame, Darlington Raceway, for race number 8. And then a trip to one of my favorite tracks on the circuit, what happens to be my home track for NASCAR purposes, the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway, makes its debut this season on April 15th, a Tuesday as well. Then taking the Easter week off, NASCAR is going to take the week off as well, so we will do something a little different that week. We'll have to wait and see what that holds. Not sure entirely what that will be. Then it's a trip to NASCAR's biggest and baddest on April 29th, Talladega Super Speedway for another plate race. The Daytona race was chaotic, fun, had a lot of twists and turns, and surely that Talladega race will as well. Then it's a trip to Texas on May the 6th and a trip to Kansas to wrap up the regular season on May 13th. Again, the playoffs, 2 races in the first round, 2 races in the second round, and then the championship 4 for the first round, North Wilkesboro and Charlotte. Second round, round of 8 will be Nashville and Michigan, with the championship 4 here in season 1 being Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, on June 24th. Season 2 will kick off the next week on July 1st. Atlanta, Chicago Street Course, Sonoma, Dover, Indy, Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, Daytona, Darlington, Gateway, Bristol again, New Hampshire and Kansas in the playoff races, Charlotte, Roval, Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, Phoenix, and then the championship for all of 2025, which will be the Season 1 and Season 2 championship race, will be at Old Atlanta, the pre-repave Atlanta, on November the 11th. So a fun season, a ton of different styles of racing coming up this season. Really a ton of different styles of racing coming up in like the next month and a half, if you want to think about it that way. Homestead tonight, then Martinsville, then back to kind of more technical with Darlington, then back to short track with Bristol, then across the spectrum to Talladega, and then back to mile-and-a-half cookie cutters in Texas and Kansas, then back to short tracks in North Wilkesboro. We go all over the place just here in this first season, and then the second season it feels like it gets even crazier. Atlanta's plate racing, then the street course in Sonoma, then back to a kind of a cookie cutter style track in Dover, then Indy for the Brickyard, back to short tracks at Iowa and Richmond, back to plate racing at Daytona, road course racing at Watkins Glen. We are all over the place in that season too, so you won't want to miss that one. A lot of fun stuff coming up here in the Challenger Cup Series. We got a battle for the lead starting to brew. Matt Hayden is closed with, once again, within about 5 car lengths up the leader. He kind of started to mirror the line just a little bit. He's been able to more effectively run the fence than Harold Watkins has so far. You see Watkins has moved up, but Hayden has been a little bit better off the fence than the 3-car has. And now Watkins will drive to the bottom. Does Hayden mirror him? No, he goes to the fence, and now this may be the opportunity. Watch the run that Matt Hayden gets here off turn number 4 as he closes on the leader. Lap 64 on the board, 57 laps to go. A pit stop looming any time now that may very well lead to a one-stop race. This could be a very crucial pit stop in the race going forward. Hayden again comes off the fence, again will chip away at the lead. Watkins trying to hold him off. Matt Hayden goes back to the top, not quite to the fence. I feel like he's gotten a better drive when he goes to the fence. Watkins will come to pit road. Irizarry will come to pit road here as well. And that pit cycle I just mentioned is underway on lap 65. Oh my goodness. Oh, trouble. Rusty Modesty, oh my goodness, he just barreled, no pun intended, into the pit barrels at the end of pit road, Kyle Larson style, and goes right to his pit box. Oh no. I cannot believe we saw that live, and I could not process for a second that he hit the barrels that hard. And Rusty Modesty's race is derailed here on lap 65. A tough break for the driver of the 6. Everyone else is on pit road here. Hayden, Velocity, Carlson, Zabloodle, Jimmy Fitzmaurice will also come to pit road as Watkins and Irizarry roll out. With 55 laps to go, going to be an awfully quick pit cycle here. But nonetheless, not necessarily the most uneventful one either. Well, Matt Hayden cycles out with the lead, but can he hold off Watkins here pitting a lap later? It's going to be really close. Not quite. He'll come out alongside, actually right in the tire tracks of the 3-car. And Hayden will get jump to the top. Actually, he'll go to the bottom to kind of get that thing wound up. And now try to go back after Watkins. Kind of had his number at the end of that last run. They've gained almost 2 seconds on Irizarry. This is a prime opportunity here for Matt Hayden to get back-to-back wins, and it's all winners in the top 3. First non-winner is Malarkey in 4th. The top 3 have all won a race so far this season. Watkins at Daytona, Hayden last week at Las Vegas, and Irizarry the week before that in Phoenix. One pit stop remains. In this race, and we expect that to take place sometime around lap 100. A little before, and then it'll be a sprint to the finish. Boy, Watkins has turned on the pace on the early portion of this run. He has gone foot to the floor. Now, my question is, how much saving is Matt Hayden doing? How much burning, if you will, is Harold Watkins doing? How much are they kind of roasting? How much is he roasting his equipment when compared to Matt Hayden, who may be saving his equipment? Irizarry 2.2 seconds back. Malarkey had a really nice pit stop. He's up to 4th. Closing in already on 50 laps to go. And you keep hearing me mention that, and I'll explain myself just a little bit. So, my background in broadcasting is on all kinds of ovals. That's where I got my start back in 2021. I did some of that in 2021, some of that in 2022. But then in 2023, when I decided to come back to iRacing, took a little bit of time off. When I decided to come back and get into broadcasting, the kind of circle I got myself into was super speedway racing. And so most, not all, I've done a lot of other ovals too, but most of the broadcasting that I've done over the past couple of years has been on super speedways. If you watched the PGR 500 back in February, I was on that broadcast with Evan Pasoko. What a great opportunity that was to get on that broadcast as well, the Great American Sim Race. But, you know, races like that, races like the SummerSlam 499 for PGR eSports last year, and just doing them week after week, those races, as you may imagine, and as you see in NASCAR oftentimes, can get a little bit messy. And at times, and I'm not saying this happens all the time, and I'm not saying that the racing's boring in this way, but the caution laps, they can tend to drag just a little bit and make the races a little bit long, and you're going until the wee hours of the night. So that's why I continue to mention, wow, we're already inside of 50 laps to go. Even just while I've been sitting here, we burned off 4 laps, and now it's inside of 48 to go. It's just a little bit out of the ordinary, shall we say. Not for this series. This series, so far this season's had really good, clean racing. But just in general. I'm going to refrain Well, I'm not going to refrain because I don't think it actually affects it. Folks, Matt Hayden is on the move. The 5 car is so far the fastest car on track on this run. That's all I'm going to say. I told you about the running joke earlier. Could this be the night? This would be a moment akin to 20 years of trying for Matt Hayden. It's been a year, almost a year and a half since I started broadcasting races that have that car in them. Back to the OP Racing Throwback Series where it just seemed like every race I missed, Matt Hayden seemed to win, and then every race I was here, maybe he would finish top 3, but it would never be victory lane. He would never have the speed to get to victory lane, or something bad would happen, some kind of unlucky occurrence, and he would not be able to close the deal. And now here he is. He hounds the back bumper of the leader. Back into turn 1. 46 laps to go. This is a huge moment in this race. Hayden goes to the fence. He'll drive it off turn 2. Will Watkins give him the wall? No. Hayden underneath. Shades of Kyle Larson on Sunday. Driving the same number, the Oakley Chevrolet to the bottom. He'll lunge for the lead. Watkins goes to the fence. Hayden's got to hope he doesn't hold him up very long. He's got to drive it hard here off the exit and slide up on the nose. He will not. Watkins will hold the spot, and Hayden will have to jump back in line, and that loses them both some time to GT Irizarry. Now these 3 really, back to Irizarry, have driven away from the rest of the field. 5 seconds back to Justin Malarkey. After the top 3, Irizarry not letting these 2 get away, but 2.2 seconds back, and hasn't shown that he's got the get up to get back to these cars unless he's saving a ton of his resources for late in the run. Here comes Hayden again. Matt Hayden, will he lunge into one, or will he be a little bit smarter this time and wait? He'll wait his turn. Watkins, though, going to the fence in turn 1. Hayden's going to go to the middle. A bit of an interesting line choice. He'll drive it down the hill and try to come up alongside the 3 and side draft his way down the backstretch. Hayden to the left rear quarter panel. He'll have a better position here, I think, for a lunge into turn number 3. But Watkins slams the door shut in his face. Irizarry closes 3/10 that time by. Now, the leaders will put a little bit more of that time back on him, but as they focus on each other, Irizarry's running clean, consistent laps and slowly catching these 2 race cars. Hayden another lunge to the middle. He'll stay about a half a lane higher that time. Now he drives down the hill. Let's see if that helped him at all get to the left rear quarter panel. It will not. But again, he's right on the back bumper. He's going to make the pass. He's got to do it quickly. This time, Watkins to the bottom, and Hayden gets that clean air right up against the fence in the high rent district. Here comes Hayden. He'll drive it off. Watkins got a really nice exit out of turn number 4, but Hayden launches down the front stretch. He gets right to the back bumper. Goes to the inside again. Another lunge by the Oakley Chevrolet. Can he clear up this time? Watkins trying to get back in the gas. Not going to let him have it. Down the back straightaway. Does Hayden slide up on his nose? He does. New leader Hayden crossover. Here comes Watkins. Irizarry starts to close. Hayden will go to the fence this time. Not do a ton to defend from Harold Watkins. Can he drive it off the fence the same way the 3 car did? Looks like he will be able to. And down the front stretch. Side by side, but not for long. Give the lead to the Oakley Chevrolet of Matt Hayden. Next time 40 to go. Watkins is still there. He goes back to the inside to lunge. Hayden will stay on the fence. Irizarry has picked up 5/10 in the last 10 laps of race time. He's back to 1.6. This time Hayden drives off the fence, and the 5 car goes forward to lead, and now we'll try to set sail. 1 pit stop remains. The window should open here in about 6 to 8 laps, but I expect the pit stop to be closer to lap 100. Hayden, big slide there in 3 and 4 as he slid those front tires. And Watkins gets right back to him. Hayden to the bottom to defend. Going to try to take air off the nose of Watkins' car. It's not the line that Hayden's been running, so maybe not quite as fast, but we'll hold off Watkins for now. But Watkins drafts right back up to him, and another lunge coming here for the 3 car. Where does Hayden go into 3? To the bottom. Smart choice. That's where Watkins went as well. He'll try to throw air on the back of Harold Watkins' car and upset that race car, but he won't do it. Watkins to the inside. He'll dive for the lead once again. Irizarry 1.8 seconds back. Now has lost a couple tenths to the leaders. Watkins dives in on Hayden. Can he slide on his nose? Looks like he'll be able to here off the exit of 2. Unless Hayden can really drive it down the hill, he will not. Hayden, again, gives the lead back to the 3. And this is incredible stuff as they work down the backstretch. Hayden goes back to that middle line that works so well for him to catch and pass the 3. He'll try it again here, getting towards the late portion of the run. Down the front stretch once again. Hayden back into striking distance. Strader has taken over 4th from Malarkey, by the way, but still 5 seconds back of the leaders. Off turn number 2, down the back straightaway. 38 laps to go. Hayden again runs that middle line. It doesn't give him the exit speed to lunge like it did coming off the fence. And Watkins is really driving it in deep, especially on the turn 3 end of the racetrack. And this time he actually puts a little bit of gap on Matt Hayden, and Hayden will have to settle again for 2nd. Let's see if he goes back up towards the fence. Goes a little higher that time in 1 and 2. And Watkins drives away. So Harold Watkins fends off Matt Hayden for now. I can't imagine that'll be the last we see of the 5 car, though, in this race. And in fact, it's not even going to take more than a lap before he's back at his back bumper. Matt Hayden, another look, interrupted me trying to take a drink. Back down into turn 1, he'll again go to that middle lane, get clean air, get a little bit more exit speed. Watkins drives away for a moment. He's really good on this 1 and 2 end of the racetrack. That 3 car is really, really sporty right now over on that end. But in 3 and 4, Hayden has been better. If he could break even in 1 and 2, I think he can pass this 3 car for the race lead. He just needs to get to where he can break even a little bit on the other end of the racetrack. And so far, he has not been able to do that over here in turns 1 and 2. You see right there, look at the gap grow on the left side of your screen by a 1/10 in 1 and 2. Watkins has been so good on the bottom that he's able to keep Hayden at bay, even though Hayden is better over here in 3 and 4. Here's 32 seconds back of the leader. Hayden 4/10 now. The window should be open as of right now. 34 to go at the line. That's about the run we just saw. Maybe a little less than that, actually. Closer to 31 by the time we got back green, or 32. So really, the window could open here in about a couple laps. But I expect these guys will get close to lap 100. In the mid-90s at least, before anybody thinks about coming down pit road. The leaders now, these 2 cars driving away from GT Irizarry, as Strader and Velocity battle for 4th. Hayden is keeping it close over here on this end of the racetrack. That's the only reason he's been able to kind of hang around. But the problem is the bottom for Watkins is working really well down on this end of the speedway. But that time he doesn't go all the way down there. He still gains a 1/10 and a half. Yeah, Hayden has no answers for him in 1 and 2. Down here in 3 and 4, now Hayden's actually going to go back to the fence. I don't necessarily hate that. You get more exit speed off the fence than you do in the middle. I wouldn't blame him for trying it down here in 1 and 2 either if he were to want to go back to the outside wall. I would not blame him, and that's exactly what he'll do. No dice in the middle. So let's go try the fence and see if I can at least exit speed my way back to him. And Watkins hasn't really been on the bottom the last few laps. That's going to allow Hayden to pull a couple more 10s. That fence line worked the best any line has for him in 1 and 2 the past 15 laps. Now 3 and 4, he actually lost a little less that time. He'll try to gain a little more. Well, gained a little bit less and just breaks even from what he got on the backstretch. And now we'll go right back to the middle. But didn't lose as much that time. But is not gaining from exit speed either. He's going to have to beat him on pit road. Back into turn 3. Watkins in the middle on the bottom. Actually now Hayden's gone down there as well. You wonder now if Hayden considers an undercut to try to pass the 3 on pit road. He managed to stay behind him barely when he came down a lap later. Let's see if he considers coming down a lap earlier this time, or a couple laps earlier. Getting a fresh set of tires, getting that little bit of extra grip. For reference, best lap of the race for Watkins was a 32.6. Last lap was a 33.3. If you gain 7/10 a lap, as of right now for Hayden, you pit a lap early, you're in front of him. You pit 2 laps early, you're a sizable lead in front of him with just what's going to be about 25 to go. Right now the lead sits at 6/10 as they stand, but he's keeping it relatively manageable. He's keeping him at arm's length, at least keeping a grasp on the race leader as pit stops approach. 29 laps to go at Homestead. The finish of this one quickly approaches, and Harold Watkins has driven about as flawless a pit run as you can right here, fending off the charge of Hayden a couple times, keeping him in the rear view mirror and being just flawless, especially down here in 1 and 2. He gains almost 2 full tenths that time in 1 and 2. Now the good thing for Hayden is Irizarry's actually falling off. I wondered if the 14 would be a really good late run. He has not been on this run like he was on the last one. As a couple cars come to pit road, do the leaders consider pitting here pretty quickly? We're getting close to that target lap that I had set for the race leaders. If you're Matt Hayden, I gotta think you consider pitting early. I think it's your only shot to beat Watkins. I don't know if he's got the pace to beat him 1-for-1 on speed. If he does, he'll have one shot like he did on this run. He'll have that 5-lap stint where he's right on him, and he's going to have to make the pass. But you got to think that he would consider an undercut to try to beat him on strategy, because now the gap is becoming a little bit further. It's back to about 4/10. Irizarry's going to do just that. 14 cars on pit road. Christian Schrader's on pit road. John Velocity's on pit road. They're the first 3 to blink. And if I'm Matt Hayden, I'd be coming down this time. 25 to go gives me enough time if Watkins stays out, especially if he pits, he needs to pit with him, because he had a really good exit as well. Let's see what Watkins does here in 3 and 4. 25 to go at the line. Watkins gets out of the gas, and he's coming to pit road. Hayden's going to follow him right down. Let's see how much speed Hayden can gain on entry. He gets to within half a car length, and if he's not speeding, that might be the move of the race. Pressure is on for Harold Watkins, as he's going to have Matt Hayden a car length back of him when they come off pit road. Briefly mentioned, Hunter Carlson stayed out for the time being, and we'll actually have to watch where GT Irizarry exits pit road. Do either of these guys go for 2 tires? No, both going for 4. Where is Irizarry? He's off of 4. And at the line, and both cars roll in 1 and 2. Now it's going to be the race. Does Irizarry's 1 lap beat these 2 leaders? I don't think it's going to. It's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to. He will not. But up front, Hayden with a rocketing fast pit stop is going to be on the bumper of Harold Watkins with 24 to go. Hunter Carlson, by the way, is still the race leader for the time being, and now you almost throw tire saving out the window. Both these guys are pretty much full go at this rate. Here we go, the provisional battle for the win. 24 laps to go at Homestead. Hayden is going to have probably a couple looks at him. I don't know if he'll get more than a few chances. Maybe 3 tops. He had about 3 shots at him last time. I imagine it'll be something similar here this time on this final run of the race. If you get to him, you've got to make the pass. Irizarry is not necessarily out of this either. 1.1 seconds back for the 14 on a lap holder tires. And look, man, the drive that Harold Watkins gets through turns 1 and 2. There's just nothing that Hayden's been able to do about it. And they both go to the bottom here in 3 and 4, and Hayden and Watkins drives away again. We're getting close to all she wrote territory here for Hayden. He's been good on 3 and 4, But it's over here in 1 and 2 that he's got to figure out something else. He's got to do something different. Lost a little bit less that time. And here Azuri is closing on both these cars. Now it's very marginal at this point, but he is hanging around. Hayden's been really good over here on this end of the racetrack. But that time Watkins breaks even. 21 laps to go. And Harold Watkins can almost taste win number 2. Good grief. I mean, just the interval there into turns 1 and 2. He gains a 10th every time he goes down there. Hayden's picked a little bit up on exit here, though. More so than last run. But now Watkins is starting to break even over here on the other end of the racetrack. Matt Hayden may have to throw it on the fence if he wants to look at this. It was working earlier when he caught Harold Watkins the first time. When he put that car on the fence, he got as close as he got to passing that race car clean. He got one look where I thought he was going to slide up, and in fact he did, and got crossed over, and that was the lap he went to the fence and crossed down underneath. The next lap he got crossed over. But he has not gone back to the fence just yet. Inside of 20 laps to go. 19 more times around Homestead. Matt Hayden trying to crack the code that is Harold Watkins. Man, a big gain there in 1 and 2. And just continues to pick up time on the exit. That time, though, Hayden, again, he's chipping just the slightest bit away at this lead. He's trying to gain it back here off turn number 4. And again, this has been his best end of the racetrack, but he has not gotten within 2/10 on this run. He also has yet to go to the fence. Well, that time a little bit better through 1 and 2, but oh man, on the exit. Almost half a tenth on the exit alone. Lap traffic up ahead of the leaders. And now the gap starts to grow. And you wonder, has Hayden run out of juice? The gap grows, 17 to go. I'm telling you, I think he has to go to the wall. I understand you lose a ton on entry, but he's only breaking even here in turns 1 and 2. He's not gaining anything. And what he gains in 3 and 4, he gives back. I think he's got to put it on the wall. Especially once Watkins has to go around the lap car up in front of him. There's going to be some bad air on the front of that 3 for a moment where, depending on where that car goes, Hayden could take advantage. 16 more laps around Homestead. Fitzmaurice will go to the wall. And so much for that. And now the gap really grows. And Harold Watkins sets sail. Hayden's going to have to shift to desperation here in a moment as Watkins has it on rails. Hayden will have to switch to desperation, try to move around and find speed. Let's see if he does so here down into turn number 1 with 15 to go. He will not. He will continue to run the middle. And as such, another 10th put on by Watkins. It's now 6/10. About as flawless as it gets for the 3. And Hayden drives right back to the bottom and just is not gaining anything down there. Gains a little bit on exit. It just has yet to go back to the wall, which I think is where he was best. Now my question on this late run, as Hayden is back to within 3/10, is did Watkins put a little bit too much heat in those rear tires trying to run away and hold off Matt Hayden early in the run? That'd be my only concern for the 3 late in the going, is that maybe he ran too hard trying to stay away And Hayden saved a little bit. I don't know. I'm not in the cockpit. I can't see in the race car. But I wonder if perhaps Hayden was doing some saving, waiting for this exact scenario, where now he's got a few laps where Watkins has kind of burned the tires off the car. He's back to within 3.5 tenths. He doesn't have a ton of time. He's only got about 12 laps to do it. But he's closed the gap another 2.5 tenths, and again, we'll take a run at the 3. So how much does Watkins have left underneath that car? Now, Watkins is up to the middle. Did that car just get tight in the middle of the corner? Look at the ground that Hayden just gained in the middle of 1 and 2. Folks, this race is not over. Oh boy, did Harold Watkins put a little bit too much into that new set of Goodyears when he came down pit road and tried to hold off the 5. 11 laps to go in Miami, and it's mano a mano for the victory. Both drivers already in the postseason. Watkins won at Daytona, Hayden a week ago in Las Vegas. Watkins dominated Speed Week. Has yet to show a ton of the speed he showed during that week. Certainly has done so today, but now must fend off a hard-charging, late-charging Matt Hayden at the line. Ticket down to 10. 10 laps to go. Hayden right on the back bumper. The gap is 2 tenths. Hayden has been so good in 3 and 4. Watkins has been better, but he is fading just a little bit in 1 and 2. Now, if you're Matt Hayden, you've got to think this through on how you're going to pass the 3. You've got to think through the pass because you may only get one shot. If you can't clear him on that first attempt, you may not get another look. Ticket down, single digits. 9 laps to go. To the back bumper. Now's where the chess match begins. Does Watkins block the lane, or does he just run what's been good for him all day? Hayden will drive off the hill and try to bring that run, get a nice straight exit. Doesn't have to turn the car a ton. Onto the straightaway and closes to within a car length. Now down to his better end of the racetrack. That time a better entry from Watkins, but how much did Hayden back it up? Big cloud over here in 3 and 4 has made it really dark on this end of the speedway. 8 more circuits around Homestead for the win. Irizarry's very much out of it. Lunge by Hayden to the inside. Don't know if he had quite enough speed to lunge that time. If he can get to the left rear quarter panel, he might have a look at it here. Down the backstretch, he'll get there for the race lead and potentially the win. Watkins throws a block. Hayden's going to go opposite. Watkins drove it in deep to defend. Hayden backed off the corner. He's going to have a run here off turn number 4. Where does he take it as they work back down towards 1? It's a big slide, though. He slid it trying to get back in the gas. 7 laps to go. Watkins fends off the first advance. Hayden, that time breaks completely even in turns 1 and 2. He hasn't done that all night. Oh, but ran a little bit high on exit. Now Hayden may be losing his equipment. Both these cars on their last leg. If you're Matt Hayden, you probably have one more look at it. 6 laps to go. This time by. The track is almost underneath darkness now at this point. You can hardly even see the racetrack. Hayden goes to the fence. Now he goes to the wall. And unfortunately, Watkins ran so good through 1 and 2 that now he actually stretches the gap back to 0.3 of a second. I think what he was doing was working in terms of Hayden. Let's see if he can get another big run here off 4. He can. Slide from Watkins. Hayden's there. He's going to have a look at it. 5 laps to go. Does he lunge into 1? He will. Watkins goes to the wall. He'll run that defensive line. Hayden had to actually get out of the gas. Now tries to drive it off the hill and just can't really do it. Has to lift just a little bit. But so did Watkins. Coming back 4 laps to go. Nobody else will get in the way of this finish. It's mano a mano. To the fence goes Matt Hayden. Tries to plant the throttle on the floor. And got the wall. Matt Hayden gets the wall, and that may very well be all she wrote. Now he'll go to the bottom, and Watkins will run the fence. Watkins has not been overly good on the top side in this run, or really all night. Now he gets a good drive off the outside of turn number 2. Smoke, all kinds of smoke down the back straightaway. But we stay green. I don't know if Hayden's got enough time. He's going to try, but I don't know if he's got enough time. He may have enough time for one move. It may have to be pretty desperation. He will get back to him, though, if he continues to run him down. 3 laps to go. Oh, but he lunges again here into 1. Big lunge that time. Huge lunge by the 5 car. He's alongside him, but he's sliding up. Can he get the left rear? No. He has to slide in line, but he's there. What a turns 1 and 2 from Matt Hayden. And that was incredible. That was his best set of corners all race. He's going to have a look, ladies and gentlemen. 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks from the flag stand, and we got a classic unfolding at Homestead-Miami. This may be his last lunge. If he chooses to do it right here, he bumps the 3 car in 1 and 2. Right in the back of him. They both go to the wall. They both hit the wall. This is incredible. Down the backstretch and into 3. Lunge by Hayden. To the bottom. He has to back it up. So does Watkins. Hayden trying to just grab left rear side draft. Watkins works up the racetrack. Back by the start-finish line. 1 lap to go. White flag. You got to lunge for it if you're Hayden here, I think. I don't know if you have a choice. Oh, he tried to use the bumper right there, maybe in 1 and 2. He's in range. He'll have to throw it on the bottom and hope Watkins doesn't block it for the win in turns 3 and 4. Throws it into the corner. Tries to get to him. Oh, he's so close. Slides the car. He will not get there. Harold Watkins survives and wins at Homestead-Miami. And take a breath. That was outstanding. Watkins gets the win. Hayden 1 spot short. Boy, was that fun. I mean, those two gave every ounce that their cars had to give. And in the end, it's Harold Watkins that has just enough to hold off a hard-charging Matt Hayden. He will burn out here on the front stretch as a winner for the 2nd time in 2025. Harold Watkins wins at Homestead. Watkins completes his celebration, and now we get into our post-race coverage. We'll get that off the screen. Just trying to get some scenic cameras. And what a race from Homestead. I'm still trying to catch my breath, as that was incredible. The chess match we just watched over the last, I mean, really, if you want to think about it, really the last 60 laps, but especially those last 25. That was incredible stuff. Harold Watkins gets his 2nd win of the season by 0.2 of a second over Matt Hayden. JT Irizarry finishes in third. Christian Strader comes home fourth. A quiet yet successful day for the points leader. John Velocity comes home in fifth. Hunter Carlson sixth. Justin Malarkey back in seventh. Kevin Zablutel in eighth. Travis Everett ninth. And Stephen Luttrell in 10th. Steve Potter finishes 11th with Jimmy Fitzmaurice in 12th. Brandon Beauchamp in 13th. Rusty Modesty 14th. James Coytrone back in 15th. And Greg Bourbonier in 16th position. We're going to go get your top three for some post-race interviews. Stay with us here on PGR eSports. We'll be right back to hear from your top three after a classic finish here in Miami. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami as we get you ready for post-race coverage from the Challenger Cup Series. We'll move first to the man who finished third tonight. As GT Irizarry, the intermediates have been really nice to the 14 car. He has another good one tonight. And a third-place finish should gain him a lot of ground in the standings. We'll see what he's got to say about a fun night here in Miami. GT, it's Dawson Wise up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dawson, how are you, bud?
Well, not too bad. A fun night for you, obviously. You know, maybe not a ton of laps led, but consistent. Gotta be exactly what the doctor ordered. Another third-place finish for you. The intermediates have been kind to you so far this season. Take me through your night here at Homestead-Miami.
Yeah, man, it's always been one of our favorite tracks to go to. The old Motorcraft Ford was pretty decent. We just try to stay committed to the bottom line, and usually that pays out on the end. But with these short fuel runs in these cars, it kind of did not pay in our favor. It worked out for the stage win, which we'll take it. We've lost out on a lot of stage points over the season thus far, so we'll certainly take that. We'll certainly take the podium finish as well. But I just wish we had more fuel in these cars in order to let the long run work out a little bit more. I just needed those two, Harold and Matt, to kind of fight it out a little bit tougher and quit acting like two little chicks, man. I need them to fight it out there so I can get up there and get in the mix with them. But we'll take it, though.
Well, absolutely. And again, kind of the intermediates being kind to you. You're a little bit higher in points now, and kind of looking forward. You're already in the postseason. What is the goal for the rest of this season? What are you looking to do? What are you trying to do here momentum-wise going forward as we get closer to the playoffs? Really, only about a month and a half away from playoff racing. How do you kind of keep yourself focused and keep the momentum going throughout this middle portion of the season?
Keep knocking off the top fives. If we can. I mean, if you keep knocking off top fives, then you're always putting yourself in the opportunity to be there at the end. So that's kind of the goal right now, and we got to capitalize a little bit more on these stage points. Even though we got the win, in the bank and stuff like that, but we've lost out a lot of stage points, like I said, due to just stupidity on my part by missing the green flags and have to start, from the pits and not having a chance to get it. But next week at Martinsville, I think it's going to be a little interesting. So I don't know exactly how I feel about that. I'm not really a big short track or road course fan in these cars, so we'll see.
Well, looking forward to our first trip to the Paperclip next week. A third-place finish for you here tonight, though, in Miami. So before we let you go and celebrate just a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, appreciate it. Everybody putting it on. Appreciate you for actually hosting the race for us. And, I think my teammate finished in the top 10, so that's good for him. And, yeah, that's it, man. Everybody have a good night. Appreciate it.
Well, appreciate you talking to me for a second. Congratulations on the third-place finish, and we will see you next week in Martinsville.
10-4, brother. Appreciate it.
GT Irizarry, the third-place finisher here tonight. We're going to move now to the second place finisher, and I'll preface by saying I got to imagine that we will get a mention of the running joke that I mentioned earlier. It feels a little bit ironic. Matt Aiden comes home second tonight instead of with the win, but regardless, a good run for the 5-car. Had a look at it. We'll talk to him about the scramble to the end. We'll talk to him about the race as a whole, and we'll get his take on a fun classic battle here from Miami.
Oh.
Hey, Matt, it's Dawson up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Dawson, how you doing, buddy?
Well, not too bad. Look, I mentioned it earlier in the race. I mentioned it from the top of the show when I was recapping Las Vegas that it seems like when I'm here, something happens and you don't end up in victory lane. Tonight, I'll tell you what, the last 25 laps, it looked like it was going to be the night. It looked like the streak was over, and instead, this has got to feel like the most brutal one of them all. You know, obviously, Harold ran a really nice race. It looked like turns 1 and 2 was the difference tonight. Is there anything else you could have done differently? Anywhere you could have gone to get a better look at that one? Is there anything you could have changed on that last run?
No, I don't think it was the last run that did it. I think it was the stint before the last one. Where we caught him, got by him, and couldn't stay in front of him for that last pit cycle, and it was just hard being behind. We kind of tried to save some following him because that was the problem that I had on that first run. We kind of had a trial run the cycle before, going kind of side by side, and if you weren't right there or got a real good deep run on the high side, you weren't going to pull off the pass or have enough momentum to get back down to the bottom, like down the backstretch. And then I knew from that previous run that it really heated up the right rear, and so when I did get by him on that second to last cycle, I couldn't keep the car down on the bottom. It was too loose, so I knew we'd just have to kind of either get out in front of him on a pit cycle, which then he ended up hitting the same lap we did, or just waiting it out to the end and trying to make a pass. And he made the right moves at the right time. When I was close enough to try to get on the outside and lunge, he knew it was coming and he'd move up to the top, and we actually got into him one of the times. And then, when we had a little bit of separation, he'd get back down the bottom of the track and take air off the nose. So he just ran a smart race, and, he made the moves when it counted. So, but no, I'm not disappointed, man. That was most fun I've had in a long time. We came off of a win. This is a great points finish. We had great points at stage. So, we're getting things back on track to where we need to be this year.
Well, it kind of segues nicely into my second question, which is, I didn't get a chance, obviously, which is ironic again to talk to you after last week's win. You came into tonight 4th in points, 3 points back of Andrew Little, only 22 back of the lead. You've obviously got the win now. That's under your belt. Your playoff racing, that's taken care of. And now a nice points finish on top of it with stage points on a night where, Christian doesn't have the greatest night in points. Andrew Little is not here. You gain a lot of ground in points. Kind of take me through what the rest of the regular season looks like for you, what the goal is, as you've already locked up a spot. Kind of what's the momentum going to be like here? What are you going to do to keep that momentum, should I say, going forward here in the regular season?
Yeah, obviously you get that win with the playoff style format, and it really frees you up to do or to take more risks, really. And it's not really risk, it's just you can race a lot more free. You don't have to worry about points, you don't have to worry about stage. You can gamble on tires, you can do all sorts of stuff. So it kind of opened up the playbook to, just race. It's when it all comes down to it, each race is a race, and you're trying to win every race, and you're trying to get every pole and lead every lap and do all that. And, when you're worrying about points and, playoff, and when you don't have that win, there's a lot of different factors. You're keeping up with where people are on the track and who needs what to get in and all that stuff. And it takes that away, so we can just, bang doors with people like Harold and, just have fun out here. So, like I said, it's nice having that to where it's not even in your mind when you're driving.
Well, second place finish for you tonight, certainly what the doctor ordered in points. A good stage night for you as well. So a nice dent made in that points lead as we continue on with the regular season. A second place finish, certainly one spot short of where you wanted to be, especially with me up here. But regardless, a good night for you. And so as we leave Homestead here, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if people are watching that don't know, it's you've called some other leagues I've been in, and it's the races that you're not around for or calling that we seem to get in victory lane like last week. But yeah, no, I want to thank everything here for Challenger Racing League. Thank you, Dawson, in the booth, for calling great races as usual, and I'm looking forward to go back and watching this one. Thank guys with Misfit Motorsports, Chicane Sim Racing Lounge in Little Rock, everybody at Central Arkansas Karting Complex, and then just everybody out watching. We appreciate everybody.
I appreciate you talking to me for a second. Congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week here in Martinsville.
Thanks, Dawson.
Matt Hayden in the 5 car, the second place finisher tonight. We'll move to the man now in victory lane here in the Challenger Cup Series for the second time this season. He opened the season with a win. He wins race 6 here in Homestead. Harold Watkins returns to Challenger Cup Series victory lane for the first time since the season opener. Harold, it's Dawson up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, yep, I got you.
Well, boy, that was fun. Got to imagine that you and Matt both needed a bit of a breather there after that one. An incredible last, really 60 laps, but the last 25 laps, a chess match. A little bit of rough stuff there late in the race. You were playing defense. Take me through what went into the strategy of holding off the 5-car Matt Hayden there on that last run.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I did a really good job saving on the previous run, and I knew that probably wasn't going to work because he was going to push it, and I knew I couldn't let him gap me at all. And with it being a little bit shorter run there, I knew I had to push it, and then, like you said, at the end, just kind of playing defense and sort of making him guess what line I was going to take, so he had to guess what line for himself to take, and yeah, that was kind of the strategy, but honestly, it was a blast, and it's probably the most fun I've had in a while.
Well, Matt said the same thing. It's a win for you. Obviously came into tonight second in points. Going to make a really nice dent in that points lead of Christian Schrader, which already was only 1 point. You're probably actually going to leave Homestead with the points lead already in the playoffs. Now you have 2 wins under your belt, 1 back at Daytona, actually 3 if you want to count the Budweiser shootout as well. So a really successful start to the season. How do you keep the momentum going as we kind of get down the stretch in the regular season towards the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it starts with qualifying. Just start qualifying a little bit better the last couple weeks. I've been up on the front row like 3 weeks in a row, and so that's kind of been the goal. Just get up front and try to stay up front, get the clean air. I think that's probably the most beneficial thing in this car. So I think that's what I'm going to keep striving to do, and just be pretty aggressive, getting to the front if I don't start up there. And yeah, I mean, just kind of keep running how I have been. I don't think I've finished lower than 4th this year. So the goal is just to keep, popping off top 5s and hopefully get an advantage going into the playoffs with the playoff point bonuses. So that's sort of the main thing.
Well, starting to get into that mid portion where you start to think about how many playoff points you have. You've racked up a ton already this season and looking to rack up some more as we head on from here. Before we let you go and celebrate the win just a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out as we get out of here in Homestead?
Yeah, shout out to everyone at Challenger that makes this thing go. There's a lot of people behind the scenes doing a lot of work, so appreciate all of them. Thank you to you up in the booth. It's always fun to watch it back. And then thank you to everyone in the league. We've had some really good racing the last few weeks, so looking forward to just keeping it going.
We're looking forward to it as well. Thanks for talking to me for a second. Congratulations on the win. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week in Martinsville.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Harold Watkins in the 3-car, the winner tonight from Homestead-Miami in what is nothing short of a classic here in the Florida Everglades. A fun race start to finish. 1 caution, and it was the stage break. We ran the entire last 90 laps green, and it turned out to be a masterclass between Harold Watkins and Matt Hayden. Watkins grabs his 2nd win of the season, and now we've put all our focus on the Paperclip in Virginia at Martinsville. That'll be next Tuesday night, same time, 8:35 here on the PGR eSports Network. It'll be a fun one. I'll be back on the call for you, 160 laps from the Paperclip. Going on from there, these races return every Tuesday night here on the PGR eSports Network, unless, of course, some unforeseen circumstances come up. Coming up after this, Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder over on the PGR eSports Network. Go to our main page, go into the other stream. I don't know if it's quite up yet. I'll double check that for you before we get out of here. It does not look like it has gone live just quite yet, but we'll be going live here soon as Ron Morse Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder goes to race number 5 of the season. No race Thursday for the PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series. Not a lot going on really all this week, it doesn't seem like, in that regard, but some fun stuff coming up on the horizon. Keep an eye on it here on the PGR eSports Network. Some non-super speedway stuff is in the works, and I can't wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's kind of what I enjoy calling a lot for myself in terms of kind of races we saw like tonight, where pit strategy is in play, tire saving is in play, multi-groove oval racing. I love it, and tonight was a prime example of that. It's going to just about do it for us here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. My name is Dawson Wise. You've been watching PGR eSports. We'll be back next week for coverage of from the race from Martinsville Speedway. And until then, go check out Ron Morse Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder. I will see you back here next